We're live.
We're on.
From London and LA.
Santa Monica.
Santa Monica, yeah. To be fair, Santa Monica's a whole different ballgame. I know.
Snobby.
It's beautiful. Can't wait to be able to visit again. So, yeah, good evening. It's what week are we on now? 5.
Week 5.
Week 5. I can't believe it. We were just talking about how it seems like ages ago since we spoke because so many things are happening. And I was reflecting on this in a brief walk I had just now, where I was thinking it's really interesting because I think in your present to the moment, time goes slower. It feels like longer in between each week. Whereas if you're living in the future, you're driven by angst or worry or something, or needing something to be a particular way. Or if you're always in the past, you're held back and you don't actually ever live in the present moment. So it's really interesting. Someone sent me this poem today, so I'm going to read it. I don't know if I'll do it justice, but it's by an Irish poet called John O'Donoghue. This is the time to be slow. Lie low to the wall until the bitter weather passes. Try as best you can not to let the wire brush of doubt scrape from your heart all sense of yourself and your hesitant light. If you remain generous, time will come good, and you will find your feet again on fresh pastures of promise, where the air will be kind and blushed with beginning.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Our fire brother is here. Hello there. Good to see ya. Can't really see you, but I can feel you. So, yeah, the time thing, as we step more into our ideal self, which is, right, about being joyous, that state of being is something that we should feel quite comfortable in and find easy to access. It's not saying that troubles and challenges and, even traumas aren't going to show up, but that we always can get back to and re-access, and reclaim our joy. So share with me some of what you were sharing right before we start to broadcast, which you were saying you had some revelations that are really cool.
Yeah, so, there was a few things that came up was about surrendering being a continuous practice. So that kind of whole process of, it's not just I surrender in a victim mode at all. It's actually surrendering in a, okay, guide me, show me the way. And really appreciating that the things that show up and don't emerge or produce fruits are not meant to. And it's okay. There's nothing, non-attachment to the outcome. So it's like, okay, you meet people, you engage with people, you have conversations. Sometimes they lead to something, sometimes they don't. And that's the same with friends or other relationships. It's like, it's okay. I'm not invested in a particular outcome, even if you're specifically engaging with, say, a company or an organization with regards to possibly doing work with them. It's okay to not get it. And because every time my experience has been that happens, it's for the right reason and other things show up. Then there was the stuff around really practicing the radical self-love through running, and really being in the present moment to that and being able to follow through on commitments that I've made to myself, even when I felt awful, and being able to do that by actually practicing a lot more self-compassion and a compassionate way of being, which is really quite extraordinary, the difference it makes compared to sort of old ways of being, where it would be beating myself up about decisions I'd made or whatever, and that's like, oh, okay, accepting the situation as it is and being kind and gentle and treating myself like my own best friend.
And the other, speak up just a little more.
And the other thing is around this collective grief that's going on.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
lots of grief around social change and shifting things, and the need for that change to be happening. So being able to acknowledge that has been really like, oh yeah, actually these things are impacting on all of us, and how we live and what we choose to do right now is impacting on everyone else as well. Like all our little micro choices that we make in our little bubble is impacting on everyone else. You know, it's not just when the butterfly flutters its wings, it's when we make decisions and do things. And then
Definitely.
the final part for me was about recognizing that we could all be in the same experience, but every single one of us will have a different experience of that, whatever that event
Yes.
is.
Yes.
And allowing the space for acknowledgement of differing experiences. And what I was saying earlier was about having, you know, the way that people think, oh, well, hang on a minute, there's like 5 children in that family, but they're all so different. How did that happen? And you speak to each 5 of the 5 children, and they'll have a different experience and perception of their family. And I was thinking,
Sure.
well, that makes sense, because each time a new child is born into the family changes. So it's acknowledging that even when we have collective experiences, all those experiences are going to be different depending on where we are in the world, where we are in our family, where we are in our social situation, and that all of them are valid. They're just different ways of, we've all had different experiences.
Right. And I think you're bringing up another really important point here, Majella, which is that we're all unique individuals,
Mm-hmm.
right? No two of us really are the same.
Mm-hmm.
And so, that's why, any kind of discrimination based on how somebody looks is really so dishonorable of the human race, because we're supposed to be unique. And I think out of that, what I'm hearing is how important it is for us to honor that, to accept that my experience doesn't need to be the same as my siblings or somebody else, because finding our joy, reclaiming our joy, really is about what works for me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, that's kind of like what happened for me over this past week. It has to do with moving around some furniture. So, I have been living in this apartment, sharing this apartment with someone who's no longer here. God bless Miss Sarah. And my bedroom became my space because I wanted to honor in the small apartment that we shared that she had, more mobility and could do what she needed to do. And I'm Pisces, so I'm good with that, right? Being my little she cave, I'm good. I'm working, I'm zooming, all of this stuff. So now I get to come out of the cave, and I had thought about turning the bed around, but I kept thinking, no, the room isn't big enough. It's not going to work. It's not going to work. Well, finally, this weekend, first I started with the two tabletops, or holders of the lamps, and I switched those up. And in switching those up, I was like, I think I can turn the bed around. I turned the bed around. And so it brought me such joy because it kind of opened up the room, and it was like, oh my goodness, so I'm sleeping in a different direction now. And it's so interesting because I was holding myself back from that, thinking that, I couldn't have it, you know? And I think we do that in life. We will see something that we want to shift or something we want to change up, but we start to tell ourselves, oh no, that won't work, that won't fit. Yeah. And again, you can't know until you at least try it.
Yeah.
Until you at least try it. Yeah.
Taking a chance. And it's great, isn't it, when it's like anything. I changed the furniture in my living room around, and I've been toying with this for years, but kept putting it off. I've had
Yeah.
the furniture basically in the same position for 24 years. And I mean, it's different furniture with the same sort of size items. And I changed it a few weeks ago, and literally every time I walked into the living room, I felt a spark of joy. It's like, it's really different. I've really progressed in life. Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly.
And I wonder if that's something about, you know, we become familiar, you know, it's the familiarity and comfort of that familiarity that actually is almost, it becomes joyless because we've stopped playing.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. And so that's something for me this week that I've become more conscious of is this form of attention. I won't call it work as much as the attention and the practices that are required in the reclaiming of joy. Because I've been more conscious of how easily it is for me to drop out of my joy.
Right.
Or to deny myself the joy. And I really have to stop and really ask myself, okay, what's breaking this down? What's stopping you from this vision, from this dream, from this, attention or taking a risk? And of course, it's all stuff from our past, right? All the past conditioning. We can go into the ancestral wounds, whatever. But yeah, there's stuff there. There are barriers there. And it's this work of really allowing yourself to slow down, to become conscious that you are stopping your joy. You're letting your joy be stopped by the past. And then, working that, like it's like kneading bread. And you're a great baker. So you know what that's like when you kneading that bread, right? Trying to get them bubbles to come up, And so I was doing that, kneading that bread and getting them bubbles up so that I could allow myself to not only go back into the vision, go back into the activity, but go beyond. And so in this process, this experience of reclaiming my joy, it has becoming more conscious of when I'm stepping out of it, and then the willingness to take on doing that kneading work so that I can get back into it. And I'm finding it quite fascinating because I hadn't been this aware, this conscious before. Yeah, so I'm really grateful for this. Yeah.
And it's that thing is around what we we're in sleep. We're asleep a lot of the time, and kind of waking up to the small things that we're doing that are habituated, and we don't question them. The internalized misogyny, the internalized racism, the internalized bullshit that we're socialized to believe about ourselves, and
right,
because based on the way we look or where we grew up, or it's all this stuff is there. And
right.
And I can certainly think, I'm so grateful to a colleague who I had a meeting with today, with some people that we had potentially been going to work with. And I recognised in her, she was able to do things that I've just walked away from. I've just thought, I haven't got the energy for this. And
right.
to have this. And I was just like, yeah, she's absolutely right. And because there's two of us, we can do it. I can do it with her, and and it was a brilliant outcome. It was fantastic. And I think sometimes
nice.
when you feel like you're on your own,
yes,
that kind of work is much harder to do. So
definitely,
reaching out,
definitely,
and connecting with others is really important too.
I think it's essential. I think a lot of times the way we can become more conscious of our joy is in the presence of someone who is sharing it with us. Yeah, yeah. So, Majella, what would be your closing word, poem, song, dance
Mm.
for this week as we head into week 6?
Wow. Okay. So the other thing, the whole running thing, I've got a 200-kilometer challenge that I'm participating in to run 200 kilometers in the space of this month, and I'm at 154 kilometers.
Congratulations.
So I suppose and I'm not competitive, but it's been really like I've run twice as much as I would normally. So for me, maybe there's something about the staying present and not seeing, like, because if I just focused on, oh God, it's 200, I'd never get anywhere.
Right. Right.
So staying present to and making decisions around things that are about, okay, like, so I give myself permission to do 4 or 5 kilometers if I want and not run any further. And when I've done
Right.
that, I've run further. So it's like permission to try things without expectation or a necessary goal for, other than
Mm.
just do as much as you can.
And trust the process,
Mm-hmm.
right? Yeah.
Little by
Yeah.
little, little by little.
Yeah.
How about you?
So to me, yeah, thank you, Fire Brother. For me, again, that listening to the heart, continuing to listen to my heart, um, and it's an interesting practice because I'm starting to do it without having to consciously say do it. I'm getting into kind of a practice with it, and I am more allowing it to lead the way. So even when obstacles come, a negativity comes, um, when we're doing dreams, it's really important to have support for that dream around you, from the people that you know and trust, from books you're reading, from movies you're watching. And when we can be in that practice of listening to the heart, when that negativity shows up, we're going to feel it, and it may put a little dampening on it, but the heart will burst through and say, no, no, trust me. I got you. I got this. And it's a marvelous thing. It's a marvelous thing. So I'm inviting everyone to continue to listen to their heart, get into that practice, and allow it to transcend whatever negativity, whatever pushback you might experience as you are walking toward your best life, your happy ending, your happy endings, your fulfillment in life. Yes, yes,
Fabulous. So, and
yeah,
next week will be our last week, right?
yeah. And I think we can do a closeout the Monday after Easter. That would
Yeah,
be nice. But
yeah.
yeah, this is it. Two more weeks coming up.
Amazing. It goes so
I know
quickly though. So
it really
reclaiming
does.
joy. I mean, really, in a way, next year, what we should do is do some happiness scales before we start.
See how much it grows.
Yeah,
Exactly.
it'd be really nice to hear what other people's experiences have been. Certainly, I've had some feedback from some other people who've been watching and afterwards. So it'd be really nice if people want to comment, like, and share. Please do.
Definitely. Definitely. We appreciate it. Well, again, Majella, it is such a great pleasure to be on this journey with you for this 40 days of transformation, reclamation of joy. And I look forward to seeing you next week. Same bad time, same bad channel.
Yeah. All right, everybody. Take care. Bye, everyone.
Be well, be safe. Bye bye.